Now, rice or roti? Which one should you have if you want to lose weight? Well, I feel roti is better because roti has complex carbohydrates. No way. I think rice is better because roti has gluten and gluten is not good for you. Roti is better because it has good amount of nutrients as well. Well, rice has that too. I don't care. Roti is just better. So which one is better? Well, first let's understand both. Now, if you take roti and rice, one roti is approximately around 70 to 80 calories. But the thing is that most of us don't really have a single roti. We end up having at least 2 to 3. So if I just take 3 rotis, that would be around 240 calories. Now, when you compare that with rice, a single serving, which is approximately around 100 grams, that serving of rice would give you around 130 calories. And if you have something like a brown rice or you have something like a red rice, then that is around 110 calories. So clearly here, the winner is rice. Now, an average roti, which is the medium size, would have around 15 to 20 grams of carbohydrates. But if you have around 3 rotis, then that would very easily be around 45 to 60 grams of carbohydrates. And on the other hand, if you cook white rice, that has 28 grams of carbohydrates for your 100 grams. So your roti has a very clear advantage here. Then you have other nutrients. Now, roti is also very high in fiber, it is high in protein, and it also has quite a lot of vitamins and minerals. On the other hand, if you go with rice, it also has your iron, it has your B vitamins, and if you just go with something like a brown rice, it has magnesium, selenium, and even phosphorus. So now the question is that which one is really better? Now, when I was growing up, one thing that was told to me is that you shouldn't eat rice as much because if you eat rice, you will put on weight. So, in case you are planning to lose weight, then you should stop eating rice. And I'm sure you must have heard this either from your friends, your relatives, or your family members, or someone who has been trying to lose weight and has suggested that you should eat lesser rice. And many a times you hear even people telling others to stop eating rice if you want to lose weight. But here's a very cool fact that most of the world's rice is consumed in the Asian sector, with a lot of countries like Japan, Vietnam, Indonesia, and even South Korea, where they have rice pretty much as their staple food. And if you look at the obesity rates in these countries or people who are overweight, it's lesser than 7%. So, all the people who are suggesting you that you shouldn't eat rice because you will put on weight and you should eat less rice because that will make you gain fat, well, that might just not be true. But the reason the saying could also be true is because of this. It's called the glycemic load. Now, when it comes to your rice and roti, one thing we really need to understand is how quickly either of them raises your blood sugar. So, if you see the glycemic load of a single roti, that would be around 11.6, which is really not bad. And most of us don't really eat just around a single roti. We at least go for 3. And the glycemic load of 3 rotis would be very easily around 33. And that is considered high, which means that it will raise your blood sugar levels. Now, when it comes to rice, white rice has a glycemic load of around 32. And the glycemic load of both are also considered as being high. So is rice better or is roti better? Well, actually, both are really good. The problem is not whether it's rice or roti. The problem is that we are eating too much of it. And when you eat rice and rotis, which means that you're adding a lot more calories to every meal, and the more you're going to add those calories, which means it's going to lead to weight gain. Because in the end, if you want to gain or lose weight, it all comes down to calories. So instead of you losing weight, you will be gaining weight. Also, the thing when it comes to your rice and roti, they have a lot of complex carbohydrates, which is something that's good for you. We need carbs to function on a daily basis, and that's a very important macronutrient that we require. But you'll hear a lot of people saying that carbs are bad. Most people are trying to tell you is the simple carbs. These are the foods that instantly spike your blood sugar. They are your refined grains, your potato chips, anything that is very sugary or sweet. But complex carbs like your wheat and rice are really good for you because they don't really spike your blood sugar drastically and they gradually release glucose into your bloodstream. But it's not which one is better, one or the other. It again comes down to the quantity of what you're having. So if you're thinking rice or roti and which one should you stop if you want to lose weight? Well, if you like a rice or a roti, you can go ahead and have them, but just make sure that you have them in portions. The thing is that we take this much of rice and then we take our vegetable salads and our gravies in literally small bowls, when it should ideally be the other way around. And even when it comes to your rotis, we pretty much do the same. But if you enjoy eating your rice or roti, consume less of them and more of the others, which are your vegetables, your salads, or gravies around it. And if you're trying to lose weight and if you are diabetic, then you should try and avoid white rice as it will raise your blood sugar levels. You can also go for alternatives like your brown rice or your red rice. They are a much better option and won't really raise your blood sugar as much. But if you really feel like eating a little bit of white rice and you don't want to raise your blood sugar levels, you can try one trick. Take a little bit of apple cider vinegar, mix it in water, and just consume it before your meal. This will not help spike your blood sugar level, and it will reduce the insulin spike. And if you're trying to lose weight and you prefer a roti, as long as you don't have celiac disease or gluten intolerance, it shouldn't be a problem, which is really less than 1% of the world's population that suffers from it. So if you don't have the problem, well, you can just feel very free to consume it. But just make sure that you reduce the amount. Now, wheat roti generally would raise your blood sugar level as it has a higher glycemic load. But if you want a better option, you can also go for a multigrain roti. As compared to a 33 glycemic load, a multigrain roti will have much lesser. And it's also a better option if you like your rotis. And I love rice and roti, and I think it's a very cultural and a very region thing. And it's very difficult for me to switch to a quinoa, which might just be even better, but it's not really sustainable for me. But somewhere I'm a rice and a roti lover. And if you also are a rice or a roti lover and you don't really want to give up on it, but you also want to lose weight and tone down, then well, I'm going to show you how. So if you like your rotis, whether it's your wheat, your methi, or even your theplas, or even maybe your multigrain roti, just make sure that you stick to the size of it being not more than a medium size and not being more than 2 rotis per meal. And make sure you increase the quantity of your vegetables and your salad and even your protein. And when it comes to rice, you're going to do the very similar thing. You're going to take just a small bowl of rice. You can just fill in rice and just scoop it upside down. So that is your quantity that you're going to have. And with that, the portion of your vegetables and your salads and even your protein is going to be much bigger as compared to your rice. It will feel a bit odd at first, but you will get used to it. So if you're thinking which is better, rice or roti for your weight loss, well, it all comes down to the amount of rice or roti that you're eating, especially when it comes to losing weight. So if someone tells you that you really need to stop having rice, or maybe you need to stop having roti when it comes to you losing weight, well, that's not true. Again, it's the amount of what you eat. You can also follow the method that I've showed you and the way I eat it. And just in case you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you want to understand weight loss even better, feel free to check out any of these videos because that will help you get a better understanding when it comes to your weight loss. And until we meet again next, don't stress and be awesome. Rocher that.